Hello, everybody. I'm back. It's Thursday night. Minutes with Milo. It's live. I hope you're going to join me in the chat because. Whoa. Hope you're going to join me in the chat. Well, hey, now I've heard that. Hold on. There we go. I know. I have to check if I'm going out. Now on the airwaves, the line waves, the electronic waves, the you know all those things, the internet, because I don't want to waste my time if I'm not, putting out any vibes. Sorry about that. Just had to check. Anywho, Thursday night, Minutes with Milo show. Oh, been a fairly good week. Last week was, phew, man. This week was a little better. Week was a little better. A little soggier, but was still a little better. That's good. So if you notice the topic for tonight, I know sometimes you just can't even look at the thing. You just got to get right in there. I don't care what it's about. I've got to see this Minutes with Milo show. I understand. That's okay. Tonight's topic is about killing mosquitoes. And Roberto. So I don't know if you know it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But the thing I'm seeing, the name I'm seeing in the chat is not your regular name. I noticed last week, Garthok he had changed his name somewhat, but then it started displaying it differently in the live chat. So I don't know if you've changed your name or not, or if this is something that YouTube's doing. It might be your handle. I don't know. I have no idea. I just noticed it last week. Garthok was here and it was different. And now you're here and it's similar but different. So I don't know. Must be YouTube. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Because I think he changed his name, but he didn't change it to what I was showing. It had a number at the end of it also. So I don't know. I don't know, man. The only reason I say that it could be your handle is I know when I set up the channel, and it wasn't soon after that. It was sometime after that. I said, hey, now you need to grab your handle. Don't let somebody else get it. And I thought, what's the difference between my handle and my name, the channel name, and all that stuff? But anyway, I went ahead and put something in that was similar to Minutes with Milo or MwM or something like that. But I don't know if that's what's going on here. I have no idea. Yeah, I know. So, killing mosquitoes. I know it's the end of summer, early fall. There's still mosquitoes out there. Don't get me wrong. It seems like there's mosquitoes anytime the weather gets warmer. I don't know where they come from, but they come out. Whether it's November, you get a warm day or two in November, and it just seems like they're all back. But the only reason I got into this topic was I was looking around trying to figure out some current, I won't say current topics, but current happenings, events. There we go. Current events that might be kind of interesting and educational. And I had asked Grok, because I can get it to work downstairs where I was, about some interesting things. And it came up with this thing about killing mosquitoes. And I thought, that's okay. I didn't realize that this form of killing mosquitoes had been around But lately, scientists have improved upon it to make it even more enticing for mosquitoes, and the more they're enticed, the more it draws them in and kills them. So, it may not be what you're thinking. It's not some long lost NASA aerospace engineer that got fired from his job that's sitting in his basement and two wires together and plugged it into the wall, and now it's killing 99% of the mosquitoes in your area. That's not it. And if you don't understand that rant, then your algorithm on Facebook and stuff is not the same as mine, because I'm always getting these things about, you know, the best tiny air conditioner you can build, and the NASA scientist, the ex naval pilot, went in, you know, with the ex software engineer that was 12, and they invented this thing. Anyway, that stuff's a bunch of junk. So they've known about this way to kill mosquitoes forever. It's all natural, but they improved upon it, like scientists think they always have to do, always have to do, always have to improve it. So I started thinking, well, maybe I ought to look at some of the other ways and see what's wrong with them. And so that's what started me down this road. And so, of course, I'm up here on this computer that I'm doing the show on. It can't use Grok. For some reason, Grok and X are forbidden on this computer. I have no idea. I can't log in to get either one of them to help me out. So we're using Gemini, which is Google's product, which I don't have a problem with. It's just, it's one I can use. And it, again, give it credit, it made the thumbnail, even though it took me 3 or 4 tries to get it done. So let me do something here real quick. Nothing I do is real quick. That's like, hey, give me a minute of your time. Well, I always used to say, my old job, my day's wasted 1 second at a time. And why is that? Because there's always somebody that says, hey, give me a second. Well, there, you had your second by saying that. Oh, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. No, there goes my day. You get 15 people to say that, and your 8-hour day's shot. That's all there is to it. Anywho, get back on topic. What was I going to do? I was going to do something. Oh, yeah. I was going to try to find a picture of this killer of mosquitoes. And I can't spell it. I've got to copy it off of here. All right, there's Garthok. And Roberto, look at his name. And he's changed it. I don't know how he did it, but he changed it, but still, it's different. It's got the @ symbol at the beginning of it, and that's not the way it was when he first came on last week. Here we go. Let's see. Wikipedia might be the way to get this. Hey, what is all that? Oh, ooh. Okay. Hmm. That's interesting. Okay, here we go. Let's get me set up here. There we go. This goes here. Move that around to there. All right, so we're going to start out with some common. Okay. So it is something to do with handles. I thought we talked about that last week. All right, so it starts out with let's see, larva killers, larvicides. So as everybody probably knows by now, you know, the female mosquito lays her eggs in standing still water, and then they hatch and they turn into these little squiggly larva things, and then they feed upon the algae and stuff in the standing water, and they grow, and then they emerge as so he's changed it around. Robert's messing with his handles. Don't do that messing with your handles in public. So they emerge as mosquitoes. Okay. So everybody says, and it makes sense. In order to help control mosquitoes around your home, get rid of standing water everywhere. All right. So I live in a lot of trees. It rains. The leaves hold moisture. It's almost impossible to get rid of all the moisture around the house. Either it's puddles or little leaves or stumps or whatever it is that make little cups that hold enough water in there long enough for larvae to hatch. Now, at the end of my new barn, I catch rainwater in one of these blue barrels. And this is what this is talking about, this larvicides. These target the mosquito larvae in standing water, preventing them from either becoming flying, biting adults. They're highly valued for their specificity and low risk to non-target organisms. So, ponds and, standing bodies of water like water troughs for animals and those kind of things. I don't know if you can get this stuff that's safe for animals, but at that water barrel that she uses it to water flowers and stuff like that. It's just rainwater. She dips it out and takes it in summertime and does that. I put these little donut shaped things, and so if I don't have one of these larva killers in there, you can go buy I've got a the top cut off of a gallon milk jug, dip it down in there, pull it up and look in it, and you can see all the little larvae squiggling around in there. You drop one of these little donut things, and it almost looks like kitty litter bunched up or birdseed kind of bunched up that's, squishy, but it's in a donut. You drop it down in there and it slowly dissolves in the water, and it kills the larva. You put those things in there, buddy, you can come back the next day and dip you some of that out and look at it, and there's no larva swimming around in that thing. It's pretty crazy. And it, like I said, it floats on top of the water, and it controls the mosquito larvae. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's what this first one's talking about. And I can't pronounce these names. The most popular microbial larvicide, the larvae ingest the bacteria spores, toxin crystals, which dissolve in their high pH gut and quickly kill them. It is highly specific to mosquitoes, black flies, and fungus gnat larvae. Okay. So there's another one. Let's see. Mosquito fish, small live fish that are introduced into standing waters like ponds and neglected pools where they voraciously feed on mosquito larvae. Yeah, you got a pond, like a koi pond or something, that have fish in it. Well, if you had fish in a pond, you probably wouldn't need that. The fish would probably eat them, wouldn't they? When I closed my kid's pool, or didn't close it, when I let it run down and I put the cover on it, and all those tree frogs got in there, that was cool. All the tadpoles, that was cool as crap. But the tadpoles eat the mosquito larvae. So it was really a good thing because it was a huge pool, 15 foot in diameter. It was at least, all right, so Robert says that he uses those little donuts like I was talking about to kill mosquitoes in his pond. Thought maybe he had like a little koi pond or something. So now Robert says turtles killed my fish. So how big of a, is this like a farm pond? The cattle wander around in this? How big of a pond is it that you would have turtles? And I'm going to assume they're snapping turtles, just because, I mean, they're very common. If you have a pond, you probably might have a turtle in it. A snapping turtle. I didn't mean to slurp that. Small 8x5. Okay. How did a snapping turtle get in an 8x5 pond? Or did you just come by walking by one day? And that's kind of strange. I know we're off the topic a little bit, but I lived in a home that was on Weaver Pike proper. And I didn't have a pond. But 2 houses down from me, there was a creek that ran through that guy's property, and it wandered over and went across the street, went across the road into a big pond. Well, it come like a monsoon one day. There was rain everywhere, and it rained like almost all day, on and off, kind of hard. Went out the next day, and there was a huge, I say huge, he was probably 9-10 inches lengthwise, shell-wise, snapping turtle under one of my house bushes, under one of my little ornamental bushes in front of the house. I just don't know. So I think here's what happens is they have a pond, they're born in a pond, then there's too many turtles in that pond. When they start to grow big, then they go on, like the Australians talk about, the Aborigine, they go on a walkabout. It's just my idea. I don't know if this is true. So when the pond or body of water gets crowded, they's like, oh, man, this is too much. I got to find my own pad. Lily pad, maybe. Anywho, they go out, and I think maybe because it was raining, they thought this is a good time to go look for another pond, but showed up at my place. Well, the snapping turtle, his head sticks out about that far, but if you reach down to grab a hold of him to pull him around, all of a sudden his neck is stretched out this far. I mean, it just like, and he can reach around and snap your fingers off. So Robert says his grandparents had a similar pond and the same thing happened. Snapping turtle come by. What is twitterpated? Probably twitterpated. I don't know what that means, but you say looking for love. I think they're just, out there trying to find their own area, their own place. So anyway, what I ended up doing is making him mad with a stick that he couldn't break. And I made him so mad he bit onto it and held it. And the minute I started pulling him, he wouldn't let go of it. And I took him down across the neighbor's yard and pulled him into that creek. Don't know ever what happened to him. I let go of the stick and said, "You're on your own, dude." Or dudette. I don't know. But how did we get off on snapping turtle? Ponds and larvae. Right. Frogs in my kid's pond. But these little donut-shaped things, that's just the way I've seen them. I'm sure there's other things. There's liquids and all kinds of stuff. They kill the larva, which is good. That that stops it in their tracks. It doesn't let it get too big. So now here's some that interfere with the mosquito's development in water. The other one killed the larva. This one mimics the natural juvenile hormone of the mosquito. When the larvae are exposed, it prevents them from successfully developing into a pupa or adult, causing death. Applied as a thin film on the water surface, this film makes it impossible for the larva and pupa to attach their siphons to the surface to breathe, causing them to drown. Okay, well that's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that. So they have to come to the surface to breathe. And this, one of the oils that you put on the water somehow prevents them from doing that. All right, so then we get into the chemical adulticides. And this I don't like. This is all the foggers and the sprays and all this stuff that treat your grass and treat your trees and all that kind of stuff. They spray on there like, synthetic insecticides, that kind of stuff. It's all your residential treatments. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to know about, in my opinion, my idea was, how do bug zappers work? And do they work? And the reason I wanted to know, Twitter pated is from Bambi. So Robert says Twitter pater is a term, I guess, from Bambi, but it says looking. Does that mean looking for love? What was Bambi doing? Talking about looking for love. You're confusing me. Okay, so the bug zappers. And the reason I was looking at that is I happened to come across one of those big ones about, I don't know, yay tall, maybe bigger. They have two U-shaped UV light bulbs in them. And then around the bulbs is a wire mesh that's electrified. And then on the outside of that is, of course, like a plastic cage, so you can't get your fingers in there on the zapper part. And I've always wanted one of those. And I come across one, and one of the bulbs is burnt out. But when I was in the barn, I used to hang it up and plug it in because the mosquitoes would come in there and bother me. And just long story short, the bug zapper didn't work for mosquitoes, and I had to use, repellent. And this is why. So, bug zappers, UV light traps. The glowing blue light of a traditional bug zapper is a great killer of flying insects, but its target is usually wrong. So, it's being attractive to mosquitoes is very poor. The female biting mosquitoes are primarily attracted to carbon dioxide and body odors, not UV light. First, in number one downfall of a UV light bug killer is when the bug is not attracted to UV light. All right, so Garthog looks it up and says Google translates Twitter pated to excited or overcome by romantic feelings, smitten. Well. So in Bambi, Robert says, Twitter page is talking about springtime mating season, basically. Okay. So we know Robert's stuck in the Bambi arena for his romantic, I don't know, what would you say? Romantic slang? It might work. I don't know. Hey, what works for you works for somebody else, I hope. Okay. So studies show that less than 0.25% of insects killed by traditional bug zappers are the biting type mosquitoes. So bug zappers indiscriminately kill thousands of beneficial insects like moths, beetles, and natural predators of mosquitoes, such as parasitic wasps. By killing mosquito predators, bug zappers can actually be counterproductive to controlling the mosquito population in your yard. All right, so like I said, one of the bulbs was out. I was thinking about replacing it. No, just gonna chuck that thing. If it's not gonna be killing mosquitoes, I got no use for it. I mean, a moth doesn't bother me. The what do they call it? The parasitic wasps. They don't bother me. So why have it if it's not gonna kill mosquitoes? Why have it? All right. I looked at candles and coils. I don't know if you've ever seen these coils, but they were kind of popular when I was a kid. It's kind of a corkscrew deal. It's made out of green material, and you light one end of it, and it burns and lets smoke off like what are the wooden things everybody burns? Incense. It burns like incense, and the reason it's a coil, it's kind of cool the way it works. You get it in a cellophane plastic bag, you rip it open, and inside's the coil and a little metal stand. And you've got two legs with a middle piece. You fold up the middle piece, and in the center of the coil is a slot. You put it on the middle piece of the stand, so it sits about, about that far off the table. You light one end of the coil, and it just burns in a circle, burns in a circle, so it gets to the end, and then it burns out, and the only thing left there is ashes and a little metal stand. It doesn't burn like a fuse. It takes hours and hours for this to burn. It smolders. So it doesn't really make a flame. It smolders and smokes. And that's what's supposed to get rid of the mosquitoes. So the same thing with citronella candles. That special fragrance that they put into candle wax, and you burn it, and it's supposed to emit this mosquito repelling, smoke, I guess. So candles and torches. Mild repellent. The smoke in the vaporized citronella oil can obscure human scents, mainly CO2, making it slightly harder for mosquitoes to find you. So it's limited in the effect is only covers a small intermediate radius around the candle and is easily defeated by any breeze. Yep. So it's got to be really quiet. The coils. These often contain a low amount of synthetic insecticide that is released with the smoke. They can reduce biting rates in the immediate area, and its downfalls are similar to candles. They are only effective in minimal wind conditions. They also release smoke and particulate matter, which is concern for indoor or prolonged use. Now, thermocell devices. Effective zone repellent. These devices vaporize a repellent chemical using heat. They create a small invisible protective foam zone less than 15 feet. Their downside is they are more effective than candles but still require low wind conditions to maintain the protective zone. Okay, so I'm 29 minutes into this. We hadn't talked about the main topic. This is just kind of the, things that everybody knows about. Then we'll get into the interesting stuff. All right, quit it. A bug zapper and a 6-pack works best. Plus, it's good quality entertainment. All right, so Garthog, you're going to have to explain how you work in a bug zapper and a 6-pack. So it's like, what do you do around, sit around, drink your 6-pack and watch bugs get zapped in the zapper? Because I hung mine up, and like I said, one bulb was out. And I don't know how you test it. Yeah. See, mine, I don't know, it didn't go zip, 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 zip. It didn't make any noises. I don't know if it wasn't killing bugs or there's no bugs to kill. I mean, I was still getting bit by mosquitoes, but it was still hanging there. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't using it right. Maybe it doesn't work. I don't know, but I'm getting rid of it. All right, so better alternatives to these, oils and candles and coils and all this other stuff. One is an oscillating fan. And I'd seen this going camping. People have, just either a box fan blowing across their, their picnic table or the area under the awning, or one of those big oscillating fans that sits on a stand that blows back and forth, back and forth. And I always thought, and of course it's true, it's hot summer, it's outside, the fan would feel good, but according to this, mosquitoes are weak flyers. I mean, they can't fly strong. They're not a strong flyer. So placing a fan on the patio or deck effectively creates a strong breeze that prevents them from landing and biting. The second best thing for alternative area protection is a repellent applied to the skin. Products with DEET, an oil of lemon eucalyptus remain the most effective way to prevent bites as they create a personal barrier. Okay, so there's my first attempt to get Gemini to paint me a dead mosquito. All right, so now the thing that got me started on this whole thing is something that they've known about for a while, but it hasn't been really applied in directed use by humans to protect themselves. I'm trying to get something off my desk here. Protect themselves from mosquito bites. It's just been something in nature that's been out there that's been waging a silent war against mosquitoes, and now scientists have not discovered it, but have improved upon it, which they think will improve its effectiveness and therefore make it a more viable solution for killing mosquitoes. And mosquitoes alone, not moths, not these wasps, or any of that stuff. Okay, so Garthog's now saying, what is actually, it was Flick, not Ralphie. Now, that's got to be a Christmas Story reference, but I don't understand how that got into the conversation about mosquitoes here in the chat. So, scientists have known about this fungus. There's a fungus among us that naturally kills mosquitoes and some other insects. But the thing that the fungus used to kill mosquitoes are generally known as EPFs. So Garthog says the best way to test your bug zapper to see if it's working is to stick your tongue to it, like the reference to when one of the kids, I'm trying to remember his name, it was Flick, I think, that stuck his tongue to the flagpole. Yes, yep, you're right. It was Flick. Yeah, I wouldn't want to stick my tongue to it because there's a lot of dead insects on it, and that's gross. Robert wants you to make bad houses, and that would be good if I knew how to make a bat house. But now, I have several bats that do fly around at night. I've taken short videos of them and put them on the channel at night in the summertime. Dragonflies. They say plant bushes that attract dragonflies because dragonflies really like mosquitoes. I assume that that's true. I've also heard that if you have a pond and you have like a little fountain or something that makes the water ripple and move on the surface, that the mosquitoes can't land on the surface and then lay their eggs there because it's not smooth. That's why they like standing water, still water apparently, so they can inject their eggs into the water and have them hatch. So there's fungus that kill mosquitoes. I wish I could know. Entomopathic fungi, EPF. There are two genres which are widely studied and used for the purpose are Matar and Bovaria, with several species showing excellent efficiency. So the first one is I was trying to read it here. I can't read those names. They kill primarily the adults. It's infected by the fungus by contact. Spores stick to the mosquito's outer shell, germinate, and penetrate the body, killing the insect. Okay, then, well, that's what it looks like. All the fungus get onto the body of the mosquito and then get inside the mosquito and kill it from the inside. So back to its descriptions. Spores stick to the mosquito cuticle or outer shell. They germinate. That means they grow and penetrate the body, killing the insect. So it says, unlike traditional chemical pesticides that are ingested or quickly contact kill, these fungus work by adhesion. Fungal spores stick to the mosquito's outer body upon contact, such as when the mosquito rests on a treated surface, like in a bed net or an indoor wall. The spores germinate and use enzymes and mechanical force to grow directly through the cuticle into the mosquito's body cavity. Inside the mosquito, the fungus grows, producing toxins and consuming the insect's nutrients, eventually leading to its death, usually within a few days to a week. After the mosquito dies, the fungus often grows back out of the cadaver to produce more spores, ready to infect new mosquitoes. So researchers have worked on turbocharging the fungus to make it even more effective. And the way they've done this is they've made the fungus more attractive by genetically making it produce fluorescence. A modified strain of the meta has been engineered to release a sweet floral scent called longopholine. This scent is naturally attractive to mosquitoes, which need flower nectar for energy, and I didn't know that. I thought mosquitoes just went around and sucked your blood, but apparently they like or need the nectar or pollen, whatever, from flowers to give them energy, since it's probably just mostly sugar water. So the longopholine is a scent naturally attractive to mosquitoes, which need flower nectars for energy. Okay, read that. This lures the mosquitoes to the fungal spores, leading to a much higher infection rate. So the spider toxin fungus, other research has engineered this meta something, I don't know, produce a spider toxin inside the mosquito's body, which drastically speeds up the time it takes for the mosquito to die. So the fungus is promising because they don't build up a tolerance for it. It's safe for the environment. It's generally considered safe for humans, mammals, and plants, and often specific insects, making them also eco-friendly option. And it reduces disease transmission by, of course, killing mosquitoes. So what they've done lately is they've improved upon this fungus. Let's see. Get back down here where this might be. All right. So this is the fungus that has encapsulated or grown to an inside outside of a roach. So those little brown specks sticking out, these are the roach's legs and stuff, and this other powdery stuff is the fungus that grew onto the roach and killed it. So what the scientists have done is made this spore, this fungus, smell like a flower. And by doing so, they have attracted more and more mosquitoes to this fungus, and then they get it on their skin, on their legs, on their exoskeleton, whatever you want to call it, and it grows there and then infects them and kills them from inside out, and then apparently just kind of grows over their body, which is kind of crazy. So let's see. Let's just call it metar. Let's call it metar, because meta might get sued. Metar is a genus of ectomorphopathogenic fungi in the family of Claviculaceae. With the advent of genetic profiling, placing this fungus in the proper taxa has now become possible. Most turn out to be asexual forms of fungi in the something, including this fungus. Before molecular techniques were introduced at the end of the 20th century, Mtar species were identified on morphological characteristics. The original species gives a bunch of names. In 2009, 9 former variants of the type species was assigned specific species status. New species have continued to be identified with original names, sometimes reinstated. All right, so what scientists have done with this bacteria is made it sweeter. And once they did that and made it more enticing to mosquitoes, they improved the mosquitoes' being attracted to this fungus by a bunch, so that the mosquitoes then, instead of going to a flower to eat, they go to this fungus to eat because it smells so much better than the flowers around it. They get there, they land on this fungus, and it gets on them and reproduces and kills them within a few days. So I was trying to look up. Researchers are working on turbocharging the fungus to make them even more effective. Floral scented fungus, a modified strain of Mtar, has been engineered to release a sweet floral scent called longifloline. This scent is naturally attractive to mosquitoes, which need flower nectar for energy. This lures the mosquitoes to the fungal spores, leading to a much higher infection rate. So the spider toxin fungus, other research has engineered the tar 2.0 something to produce a spider toxin inside the mosquito's body, which dramatically speeds up the time it takes for the mosquito to die. So I don't know. I don't know why they're talking about spider fungus. It produces a spider toxin inside the mosquito's body. Why are fungi a promising tool? They offer a valuable alternative to chemical insecticides, which mosquitoes are increasingly developing a resistance to. The fungal infection process is different from chemical toxicity, making it harder for mosquitoes to evolve resistance. Environmental safety. They are generally considered safe for humans, mammals, and plants, and other specific insects, making them act as eco-friendly options. Third thing, even if the fungus doesn't kill the mosquito immediately, the infection can reduce its lifespan, interrupt its feeding behavior, and even inhibit the development of parasites like the malaria agent, thereby cutting off the chain of disease transmissions. So this fungus that's been around for a while is probably one of the best killers because, you don't have to spray it, you don't have to do much with it, it's just nature. And now they've modified it so it attracts even more mosquitoes to it, and therefore can infect more mosquitoes. Which sounds good, but it doesn't really specify how you get. Let's say I have a pond and I want to use this fungus to protect it. Where do I get it? How do I make it work? What kind of environmental conditions do you have to reap the benefits? So trying to find it. Adulticides, personal care repellents. I was going to try to search it and see. spider toxin fungus. All right, so I don't really see a way. Let's do this, copy. Let's ask them, how do they make the fungus like flower? How do they make the fungus smell like flowers? Okay. The fungal floral fraud. This is an extraordinary case where a fungus infects a plant, stops a plant from making its own flowers, and creates its own fake flowers made of fungus tissue on the plant stem. That does not sound like something you should be doing. Fungal co-production of flower and carrion scents. Scents, like smelling scents. Some fungus, like stinkhorn mushrooms, have incredibly complex odors that contain both foul-smelling and seemingly sweet or floral compounds. All right, so we're off the realm of mosquito killing, which is very unfortunate. So these nice smelling fungus, they weren't nice smelling before. So the scientists increased their sweetness to attract more mosquitoes to the fungus so that the mosquitoes could get infected and then later die a slowly agonizing death for the mosquito. Which, I mean, you know, they do itch a lot. They do itch a lot. So maybe it's okay. Maybe we can justify it for the fact that we're not going to itch so much. But Grok talked about how they are going to deploy this fungus. Let me get it. Let's see. How can the sweet fungus be deployed? Kill I don't know. The floral scent fungus is a recently engineered biocontrol agent that uses a surprisingly simple and highly effective development strategy, leveraging the mosquito's own behavior against it. The fungus in question is a strain of the matar fungus that has been engineered to produce high levels of sweet-smelling chemical longpholine, which mimics a flower fragrance. Okay. The development method is designed to be easy, affordable, and practical, requiring minimal specific training. The medium fungus. The fungal spores are grown on inexpensive, readily available materials, often based on agricultural waste like rice husks, chicken droppings, and/or wheat scrapes. The container simply needs to place fungus spores within a container such as a small cup or box, either indoors or outdoors, in an area where mosquitoes are active. Once the spores are in place, the fungal culture continually and gradually releases the longpholine sent into the air of the repaired moss, acting as a long-lasting lure. Okay. The strategy exploits the mosquito's natural need for food. Both male and female mosquitoes rely on floral nectar as their primary source of energy, and they use sweet scents to find it. So if you lived in the desert, you wouldn't have mosquitoes, which is a long way to go to get rid of a few mosquito bites. You can just spray on the DDT, or I'm sorry, the DEET, not the DDT. the deep. Oh, let's see if it talks about. All right. It doesn't tell you how to deploy it. How can sweet fungus be deployed to kill mosquitoes? So in Grok's answer, it talked about being able to grow these spores in certain areas of your yard or home at your behalf. You know, when you go out and you buy, instead of buying a pack of seeds, you'd buy a pack of spores and you would spread them around and they would grow and produce this fungus that then would act as an attractant to the mosquitoes. They would get into it and it would kill them. So that sounds promising to me, just because I'm already dropping biscuits or donuts in a bucket of water to keep the larvae down. I can't go through the woods and turn over every little leaf or hole in the ground that has water trapped into it. So if you can control the behavior of the insect to come to the fungus because it smells like sweet flowers, they land on it, they get the stuff on their exoskeleton, and then it finds its way into their body and reproduces and it kills them from the inside out. That's pretty cool. So I don't know how immediate effective it is, but this is, I'm sure, a long-term, do this now so that in a week you won't have mosquitoes, or it'll be reduced, and then in 2 weeks you're less, and 3 weeks you're less, and then eventually, you would get to the point where you're like, man, whatever happened to all the mosquitoes around here? I kind of miss being bitten all the time. You'd never do that. But you get my drift. Is you put it out and reap the benefits. Put it out today, reap the benefits in a week or 2 weeks. And so then once you get it going, then you can maintain it. But anyway, there is probably, I don't think these things are commercially available, one of the all natural ways to get rid of the mosquitoes around your home. And when they release these things in spores, I think that would be so cool to buy some, put them out there and see how many insects, how many mosquitoes could you get. But until that time, you keep tuning in on Thursday nights and keep watching the Minutes with Milo show until I notify you that everything's good to go and you can go out and buy, your genetically modified fungus that's going to smell so much nicer than the wild, untamed version. So if you found this interesting, I appreciate you tuning in. Like, subscribe to the channel. Leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you do to control the mosquito population around your place. Does everybody use the woods off, spray it on them, keep the mosquitoes away? I don't know. I know I do, because that bug zapper wasn't much. It just wasn't. That's the truth of it. Kind of gives off a nice, blue glow, but I didn't hear it zapping any bugs either. I may have been more inclined to keep it if I could hear them, turning into puffs of electricity smoke out there. All right, everybody. Robert, Garthog, appreciate you showing up, making the chat active, and tell your friends and family about it. All right, everybody. Let me see if I can find one of these buttons. I press it once, and I press it twice, and then maybe y'all can rest and